What's the dumbest thing you've done in your 20s? Everyone wants to hear about dumb stuff like driving 8 hours to get with someone you liked only for it to end up being a booty call. However, I personally think it was my general lack of effort to build any good habits like exercise. Your body likes routines, and my routine of gaming for 15 hours a day was not one I should have cultivated. Not look after my teeth. I wanted to say so many things, but I read someone forgot to eat pizza in Italy. All of a sudden my dumbest thing wasn't so dumb, it even cured my depression. Fell into a debilitating drug addiction. I have 26 months sober on the 5th. Decided against contributing to my company's matching 401k. Cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not getting help for my depression sooner. Spent the entire first half of my 20s in the darkest place I can imagine, and all I needed to feel better was some meds once a day. Worked way too hard and burnt out. Sacrificed family time. Sacrificed health. Need to pace yourself at the age of 20-30. I took powerlifting way too seriously. I spent 7 years in gyms, for hours every day, skipping every social occasion and holiday. I didn't get as strong as I wanted to. I just got all sorts of physical issues to deal with for the rest of my life now. I was hopelessly addicted to heroin. That led to lots of shenanigans. Robbing summer rentals in the winter was probably the worst of it. I was eventually caught and served time. 14 years clean and living an extremely normal life now. Got into a half-hearted relationship and wasted 3 years of my life. Broke a window with my forehead. Willingly. Don't ask. Drank my way through my entire 20s. After 25 it wasn't really fun anymore, but that didn't stop me. Drank for another 5 years. My 20s are a total blur splattered with some fun times here and there. But mostly just me running away from things with alcohol. Almost 17 years later and not one drop. My 30s and 40s are exceptional better. Beg to be loved. Got married to the wrong woman. Never get married to someone who isn't sure if they love you. That person is damaged and needs space. Not studying properly. At the time studying for 7 years seemed like a lifetime, but now at 30 I wish I had done it. Don't have the money or flexibility to do it now. I crashed a golf cart at 29. I was so fucked up with road rash, both ankles were rolled and fucked up one Achilles pretty bad. It took 2 years for one ankle to feel normal again. Still have a bunch of scarring. Have never fucked myself up so bad before. The road rash and treating it all over my body was one of the most painful things I've ever dealt with. I am so careful in those things now, and honestly just everything in general. Lucky I didn't hit my head. Assumed climbing the corporate ladder is the way to do life. Attempted suicide, fractured my C6, C7. Went to Italy and forget to eat pizza. Took a $12,000 loan to buy a motorcycle. Didn't want to pay for comprehensive insurance, bike got stolen 4 months later. Drink and drive. A lot. Never got busted. Quite stupid. I am now 5 years sober, unrelated. I say this from the bottom of my heart. There are friends, taxis, Uber, Lyft etc. Utilize these for yourself. Broke up with what may as well have been the greatest girlfriend I've ever had. 3 years later I'm still single and I think about her from time to time. My ex. Spent an inheritance on cocaine. Got married, followed by the smartest thing I ever did, got divorced. Got engaged to a horse girl. Drove 187 miles to drop her a scarf back that she left at my student house. Didn't even get a thanks. Just an Instagram story of her wearing the scarf out that night. Dated the wrong people for access to sex. Knew at the time they were problematic and it led me on a path of a lot of trauma and having the wrong view of the world. That took a while to dig out of. Spent too much time thinking about the world's country's issues rather than figuring out how I wanted to make a living. You always think you have more time until life hits you in the face, and then you realize how much time you actually don't have. Ran up $11,000 worth of credit card debt over about 18 months when I was 25-26. I didn't become debt-free until I was 33, and never had an 800 excellent credit score until 36. Wasted it with the wrong person. Met at 22, married at 25, divorced at 28. My 20s were completely lost to an abusive marriage. 10-10 would not recommend. Stuck with a girl who not only was full of red flags but then proceeded to have kids with her and got married, only to have ruined and wasted 13 years of my life where I couldn't have friends, lost almost all of my family because they all disliked her two-faced self, and basically have only lived my 20s at a factory putting in overtime after overtime only to remain broke because the person I was with would go on shopping spreads rather than save for our kids' future. My 20s sucked, and now that I am in my 30s it doesn't look much better. Thinking that the relationship I was in was going to be forever. Could not be more naive. I drove an hour back home from a party with 2 people in my car while drunk. The edges of my vision were blurred, but I figured if I just focused on what was in front of me, I'd be okay. The road was almost entirely empty, so I was able to drive from point A to point B without distraction, but all it would have taken was one thing to distract or startle me and it could have ended terribly. I never did anything that dumb again. Grand of you to think that I stopped doing dumb things after my 20s. Try to wife up the first girl I dated. Major mistake. Not making long or medium-term plans. Edit wasn't expecting this many upvotes for a throwaway comment. There's no one right way to do life. Just don't be a cunt. While I'm here, fuck Vladimir Putin. Slava Ukraini. Hero, I'm Slava. Maxed out my 5,000 credit card on a girl so she could go to school and not graduate. I'm not with anymore for love. LOL. After some years my credit is back over 700 again, but I will definitely never do that again. LOL. Faked being depressed oftentimes and eventually got depressed. Didn't ask for help when I got in trouble financially. I was sucked into payday loans, eventually owing 1,000, got so bad that my payments were more than my wages. Still struggling now but almost there. Also refusing to pay 2 debts and getting 2 CCJs. One was for a payday loan that I felt was unfair and second was for a parking fine. The original payment was 0.20p. I didn't buy because I thought it was after hours no payment, but they changed it to 24-hour pay anyway. I was there 12 minutes and they wanted £450 for failing to pay. Both cases court agreed with them and forced me to pay. Letting my fears consume me. Her name was Kat. Didn't recognize what an incredible woman I was with until it was too late. Lost of random sex, fortunately no pregnancies or infections, but I think I was too risky in practically saying yes to everything. Gone to grad school. Nothing like getting paid a poverty wage to live in the most expensive city in the country. Sold my body for money and allowed myself to be abused and humiliated on nearly a daily basis. Not standing up for myself and let other people walk all over me. Had the same crush as a good friend in college. Me and the girl were pretty close and had somewhat mutual feelings. My dumbass let him go for it, and to make the chances higher, I lied to her face to face I like her best friend. She confronted me multiple times, not believing me. Well, she was right, but I stayed firm and said, no, I really like your best friend. After a month they were together. Fast forward later, he was just in for the ass. Till this day I think about it a lot, but that's what I get for letting someone I really liked go.